Hey guys, welcome back to Tanner's Books and Beyond, where yes, sometimes I do just buy things because I heard about them in a movie joke.
Does it say who's fucking playing us in the movie?
No, but it's Miramax, so I'm sure it'll be Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. You know, they put them in a bunch of movies.
Who?
You know, those kids from Good Will Hunting?
You mean that fucking movie with Mork from Ork in it?
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan either. But Affleck was the bomb in Phantoms.
Word, bitch. Phantom's like a motherfucker.
What's up now?
Phantoms is a horror novel by Dean Koontz. It begins with the sisters Jennifer and Lisa Page entering Jennifer's hometown of Snowfield to find that everyone is either dead or has vanished without a trace, and those who have died have left behind horrifyingly disturbing corpses. Eventually, Jennifer is able to contact the nearby town of Santa Mira, who send up Sheriff Bryce Hammond and some of his cops, but as they investigate, what they once thought was a terrorist organization or some kind of biological agent is actually a much more malevolent and ancient force that they are dealing with. And yes, it was turned into a movie starring Ben Affleck, and he was the bomb. Now, if you're thinking that that was a pretty thin plot summary, well, the fact is that this book has a very simple plot. It just starts with that opening of everyone in Snowfield having disappeared, and it just keeps going from there. It's very straightforward and very linear. There aren't a lot of twists and turns or big reveals or anything like that. Now, my copy of the book has an afterwards where Dean Koontz explains that he wanted to not just write a generic, straightforward horror novel. He wanted something that was intellectual and cerebral, and something that had a lot of atmosphere in it and a lot of character development. And this is where the bulk of the book is. It's not in the scares and the terror and the gore, although there is plenty of that. It's building this atmosphere and this environment of fear around all these characters, and it uses that to push them to develop as well as reveal their own backstories, so that when they are put in danger and when they're in serious life-threatening conditions, you are scared for them because you know the kind of characters they are and you want them to survive, even though you know it's a horror novel. A lot of them are not going to make it out of this. The atmosphere of terror in this book is superb. It was one of the few books that I had difficulty reading at night because, of course, when you put it away and you turn off your light and you're alone in the dark, you start thinking, what if it's all real? There's only one thing that really wrecks this atmosphere, and that's this one little subplot about a minor character named Fletcher Cale. And I know I said this book was linear, and for the most part it is, but there's this one little subplot kind of dangling off the edge of the narrative like a vestigial limb. And this guy, Fletcher Cale, who was arrested right at the beginning of the novel by the Sheriff Hammond, and then eventually he manages to break out and he makes his way up to Snowfield, and I was thinking at some point like, oh, he's just gonna burst in and start killing everyone and be another nemesis on top of the evil force that's already hunting them. But no, he just kind of diddles about in the woods, and then he meets with a biker gang, and it's all very pointless and superfluous until the ending, and not even in an amazing way that changes everything. He's just there, and it is just not even important to the epilogue. Like, even the entire epilogue, you could take Fletcher Cale out of it, and everything else, all the development remains fine. So, like, if I was an editor, I would have told Dean, just cut this out. It doesn't impact the story at all. But I guess when Dean said he wanted to do something like cerebral and intellectual with the character development, he thought that he needed some rando guy who killed his family and then just faffs about in the woods for 6 chapters until he dies at the very end. And okay, spoiler, but not really spoiler, because no one cares. He's the one character that you will not care about at all. Honestly, this book surprised me. I did not expect this much depth and atmosphere and character development in what I assumed would just be another horror novel. It is practically excellent aside from that one Fletcher Cale thing, and it was very Stephen King-y in its style, so if you like Stephen King, then you should definitely check it out. But even if you don't, I would still recommend it because it is such a well-written, very character-driven book. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And if you didn't, feel free to share, subscribe, and like. Until next time, I'll see you later.
There they are! Act like you don't bomb in Phantom, Joe!